at a loggerhead with the president is going to create a problem. It's the reason why the constitutional framework started why it said always be the various security heads, must work at the pleasure of the president as he so desires. At any point in time, when you're satisfied, and as he goes and line with you, they can terminate that particular appointment at any point in time. And JB, even Ghana as a fledgling democracy, the most advanced democracies in the world is that of America. America, internal security is under the jurisdiction of FBI. FBI director is appointed directly by the president. Even in those advanced democracies, that discretion has been given to the president. And the Kash Patel, now Trump by appointed as a new FBI director. Famous Comey. 2017, Trump by a knife May and automating appointment because of the banter in the previous way. So all over the world, around the most advanced democracies are a model. You see, say even there, for instance, in the US, the CIA director is appointed by the president. Bureau of National Intelligence is appointed by the president. These are sensitive security areas. The Constitution give that discretion to the president or make such appointment at his own convenience, and they work at his pleasure because of how sensitive the institution is. So if you have this thing at the back of your mind and there are enough constitutional arrangements safeguarding these things, now president make attempt change obia, you may disagree. And that's what but to say so they call court it doesn't make sense. It make you look like an attention seeker just seeking to grab headlines and then as a forum. So for me, I think that is just by the way. But JB, over the years, there has been this conversation around appointment of security head. We've had this conversation before. Say, Emrason, say, my various security heads, or more kasayi or more leaders. I think there's a conversation that has been activated for some time now. IGP sacking termination by Matisse, a lot of people make that particular argument. But you see, we cannot get emotional over some of these sensitive issues. Question we should be asking ourselves in a very honest way. And say, JB, you know the security, you know the military, you know the police, you know fire service, you know prison service, you know the way they operate, the mentality of this institution, and how polarized these institutions have become, how partisan politics has infiltrated into the very security architecture of this country. JB, will you be comfortable to say, the various security, saying, institutions now, do they have that sense of maturity to be able to appoint their own head?
Well, I'm not sure for
the answer is no. Considering what is going on within the police, even at the top hierarchy, Dampare and Nkrofo within the military, Nema Air Kosoro, it will be a disaster to say that these institutions should appoint their head because of internal politics and how individuals. So, Enam said these institutions, show that sense of maturity, that professionalism, say, me appointed, then that argument, will become unnecessary for us. Say, activities, let us amend the constitution and say, these institutions should appoint their head. Because then, security agencies have become virtually an extension of political party offices. Within the military, they have the NDC line, the MPP line, and those who are playing double games.
For instance, fire service, no free to and Mahama,
okay.
Now the time I saw the dad.
Good.
Ambrose Zerina extended the contract.
Okay.
So he was working as an extended, Meanwhile, there were equally competent people who were available with the same rank to occupy that position.
Yes. But you see, when it comes to those top way, retirement age in the system catch you but I'm saying that job you work at the pleasure of the president even if above retirement you can be given extension to work, so that one day I will not even be grudged. But the argument they say yes, I amend the constitution that this institution appointed the question I'm asking say, have this institution attained that professional maturity to appoint their own head? The answer is no. So it means that argument cannot fly, and I'm backing with evidence even in the most advanced democracies out there in America and other places, so mature to a highest level, those security heads are appointed by the president. They work at his pleasure. They can sack these individuals at any point in time, replace them without any difficulty. So I think that those making those arguments on the various TV stations and so forth, they should be guided by some of these in Myanmar, because of how sensitive, and the fact is that these institutions have not attained their maturity. And again, IGP Dampare, you saw a lot of jubilation and course on various social media platforms. And for me, that was very disgusting. And it showed how unprofessionalism it is so deep into the police and other institutions. You may not like Dampare. You may like the other guy that is coming and so forth. But to wear police uniform, now with the camera see so
jubilate on the streets.
Jubilate with them, but to put camera on yourself in a uniform and jubilate to say police for independent, that is the biggest form of impression in recent times. And I think we should be worried. Debbie, we are talking about professionalism in these institutions. You see, over the years, the police, is bedeviled with a lot of logistical challenges in terms of motivate everything. So, me a police officer, I should channel my energy into some of these areas. Say, force the new leaders to ensure, say, near my for instance, wako police barracks da. New police officers no mobile. Unko single room. Ni fridge ni way you necessary abonting. Na nempa.
What they are numpo. Oh, fire service training. Oh, cry. You say, imagine so kuta fire hole. Na ebi ni ho fire tender ni ho ni yase katawani na yete say de okuta fire tender ya say ho no na odi dum dwa na just okatawani na odi dum just ebi kra ni ho ya dey training.
Yes,
and you go about jubilating because of what?
So it's a problem. So and natural say professionalism a problem. Police, we need to tackle some of these things. And then it brings me back to the question of recruitment.
I
have always argued, say JB, Obia, what 23 years are only nyansa. You cannot use 6 months and turn that particular person into a sensible person and arm him with a gun. The most dangerous thing is to arm a fool with gun. So when you're careful, yes, I know, say, advanced countries in as far they have short period for training police, quantum coding as far some 9, 12, those kind of training. But you see, my catch is a leadership, and yeah, they are actually a good template as well. Yes, will be a follow. You look at your local circumstance, you contextualize it and use it as a guard. Now we have enough evidence to prove sufficiently. 6 months now you train police officers in we don't focus on the mental development. For instance, your training has to do with physical. You do be able to but pressure and instead of spending more time on the mental faculty of police officers, we rather focus on their physicalities. And it's a one argument because at the training, you're training with the physicals, about to obey inflicted pain on you because that is the training. We did not spend time working on the mental faculty of these individuals. And for me, that is the reason why we are here. So we need to look at the training modalities. Time now, you're the training police for anything I've always proposed. We need to have something like your friend say, a police training college. Just like a nursing training college, any other institutions.
Don't go for 3 years.
We will go for 3 years. You can award them with degree. So by the time and the faculties of fighting crime is not just about who am robber medinechi. Your first crime assuming some level of sophistication, and most of the crime in on the internet. You understand? So it means you need to train police so sophisticated in dealing with some of these sophisticated form of crime that has come.
Quick one, obi message or the aba, but enchemeko sakara so obi message or the aba has to do with that is why the level of police brutality has risen from one stage to the other.
Yes, and because the training focuses on physicality, and you be able to come to America now we are going to a bar. The other one is because that is the training. We don't spend time working on the mental faculty. And I'm crime because of sophistication, platforms and the bioterrorism, cyber terrorism, whole lot of crime. And I would not continue with or fight cyber. What I say? So I think that these are some of the major concerns that we should be worried about. And a local circumstance, let us look at how we set up training institutions just to ensure that by the time a police officer will graduate, not all aspects, including technology, cyber rep no nyina no you are training into obaba no you fully baked, and whatever opportunity you give to the person can work. And for me last one I mean maybe we Dampare issue no so no me the reason why Dampare call me very happy and your person has to do with extrajudicial killings are also under Dampare.
But it's also interesting to know say Dampare free so are there thing you say you suspect to be for Ameswale?
Yes.
What is happening?
Yes. So JB, ne we police ubetima ye wadwuma. Yes. Obia de ne up and loose ne say for them. But nipa enya akoko. So we can just kill people and it ends there. Nothing happens. Ade se me be sin there and that young police officers na Bullion van.
Yeah.
It happened in about 3 times. For instance, police in here all guide the Sikadia corner on Chevesto. But who himself do not know very dangerous. And a young man has gold coast to 10 they see the national authority front. Side arm Ketwakra or Nibi. And the arm rob and no sophisticated gun. The video that we saw, you saw gold coast to they see the national front, you know. Or in this space, you can't campus what to so arm rob and rather open the door and shot the police officer. Yeah, investigation who says ana police from Pennyphobia and Neshachire no. I know that what happened. You know, go custody. Ahomache, and a police for na form kukuomo. Besin there, one was obedience as as to why those people were shot. What any investigation?
It's scary. Very
then
scary.
Go back to Nkranza. One issue was Shimichanya Dibia. There is this woman also on the bad then.
Yeah.
And a police for
a satellite installer.
Ahomache.
I remember that.
3 weeks no who ni ban. Or never born a man say Obana who's a free. What kind of nonsense is this?
Boys ni
police people went to Nkranza and they killed another person.
I also when you bring two more.
Besin there. What is Obia can wasem? Abranti be visa or ko Germany. And our back crowd from Western regions over to Ton and Nema, or West Health Board. Yes, a police in who also one mini baby, or the shocker a shocking no kuno. Besina what's will be investigation.
Enra, me offer a Suma Motors, the boys. Police for next year, more rough. Just a yes.
Because training, you know, it focuses on physicality.
Yes,
macho. Nine, the macho, your police, the macho, your military. Because people are investing in drones and then I say, well, we don't have macho, no, we have a cool. Yes, all right. So I think that we need to focus on some of these. So the mistakes are. Niama Akosono, Dampare exit, it should not just end there. I think we need to open the Pandora's box. And as our extrajudicial killing now, we need to wait into. For instance, now we have to see what Botiano. Yes, we are not living in a banana republic, and I think some of these things we need to spend time, delve deeper, and ensure that going forward, we will be guided because yes, Ghana is a decent democracy. We should be guided by some of these things and make sure that in our journey ahead, we move in a manner. Some of these issues about backslide here.
Right.
So those doing emotional argument about Dampare, these issues, stretch beyond an individual IGP. We should focus on how to retool the entire police service. Now you're making it better because it is there to serve the people of this country.
But remember how near to us so a two for comments on make you on the free SHS and other issues. But Lakara, I mean, you are into the system. Oh yeah, a party communicator. Issues like this. Meaning says some of you, me and Kasamuna, so were not happy with the security related issues. But to send the Ivan Kyei, are we to channel our energy and efforts in jubilating rather than looking at ways and means to strengthen the security system?
Yeah, thank you so much. I think, sir, strengthen the security service, and I say, no institutions, no. And I can say, from day one, our contract to Ghanaians, resetting Ghana. Your social contract, any Ghana for SIA, manifesto, Ghana for say, in 4 years, side you win your PCA. And every Ghanaian out there, because we did campaign will be Emma, catch Ghana for Nyama Yebeye. Until I understand, my brother, the paint, any Ghanaians paints are you. I'm a swally issue at Okam. You come her A+. I can vote on social media handle. Say only whoever is involved. You invite no. Akosi say. Your uncle for baby. Our mama information said we have information about it. From date. Bibian Kosi. Eba to the sense say. So when ya pinyin papa. What I dream papa. Emma Omaya. mine no be bread. Also, besides say, then all of a sudden,
hey, IGP Koya, I say a suspect.
A tracer by Papa Abba. And you're miracle. The patcho Google and see. Until I'm me, I always want to give you what we said and what we are doing. Yes, because Ghana for no home. Already, brofo. And already,
it's making kind.
Emma, and one name say, John Dramani Mahama, Eka say, Obe making sure say, or the Obe investigation into the killings of Ameswali. It's a public record. John Dramani Mahama Aka. And trust me, whoever is involved, I suspect say, we have picked him up. Investigation and start. Me say, Ghana for in the next 4 years, you need because BB and ye bomb pie say, ye person you the system should be reset. The system should be reset. In your corner, in your banny, you say, you're paying for it, dear. I brought too much. No, the technology Obama, he said, you need be on a non moon at me a video call. Oh, yes, me another video call. Now, be a digital, could be a gate, crown to me, be a gate. See,
give him that credit.
Which credit?
I mean, he also contributed to the digital.
We are not doubting it. But before Baumia, not digital.
I mean, may I wear back
now before Baumia, Uber Ghana. No, before Baumia Ghana, no, now Uber Ghana.
Well, I mean,
it's a digital be a buy. Or no one ever said digital because mobile money before Baumia, no mobile money. It was high. People were patronizing mobile money. Baumia, I'm not for Jai mobile money because of e-levy. I buy Papa Abda woman, e-levy in free hall. That should tell you, say, digitization, we understand it.
Because that's a mode that's
oh, yeah, no, he has submitted this in parliament. It's subjected to approval. No, see, assistant pa, Emma refuse. You know how many years?
Oh, and
I can't just 1 day, 2 days here, but I don't know. Say, oh, he has submitted it 3 days ago in parliament. He has submitted, exactly. So they are going to, yes, exactly. So it's a process, but to me, no, Aquarius, because so far as I didn't know what you mean, what be one worker, what they are paper, so I submitted in Afa, a parliamentary or Ghana 40. Obia abrof omo abro ewo mutimu no omo kasakra nko bebia we dey nko bebia abro bia beba bia o parliament hanom na ye NDC abro enye no ye Ghana ho papa nti ye ni ade be di Ghana for abro da because every single thing na ye dey table no parliament no eye nyama e be ma Ghana nko so aba and that is what we are in for nti ni kra ni say IGP no John Dramani Mahama e bae no there were so many incidents SCR John Mahama catch IGP so on your investigation till date oya can obuasi killing obuasi assembly till date it's anything I want up to today want me kasa it me there to me no I believe say John Dramani Mahama ehun say maybe the vision no any near man ohia obi a obetimi aye ni tentem so amano so to me no it's okay because for me I've never even see say you obi through hammer for a jubilated that it has never happened. We are seeing it.
It is unwise. Police personnel, police uniform on the street.
Who is the leader of that police personnel? Who is the leader?
Yes, who leader?
Who is the who is the leader? At that time, who was the leader?
At that time, who was the leader? I say.
18 years. What do you know, bread?
Nah.
Let us give credit. Let us give credit. Trust me. To me, right. I believe so. Yeah, Ivan Kyei no. And like we should watch it and do reforms. We need reforms. But I see, Ivan, Ghana Police, you do my time. We should also thank them and appreciate the work that they are doing. Trust me, almost cyber security. You know, we have so many sectors. And one day, Ghana Police at the age, almost so. Almost cyber.
Also, the
exactly. Oh yes.
Yes, because of you, sir, Obuwa, Enkusi. Sure. Me say, Ministers be see Wokumase. Your papa, Masum Roff, I can't catch him consider them say, hey, I'll call me Dana say, Masu Trini Pan and they didn't come. The Korea, I can't to do good for no patch, and I'm saying, me. Hey,
no, sir, I'm ready. But see, police in the crowd, cyber security unit, okay. Obianim said they have some of these departments. But see, we are talking about the rudimentary.
They're very effective.
For go through. Yeah. They must have that exposure. You understand? So even the police officer walking on the street, will have that knowledge, not Obi or Te.
That
cyber security. No, because then you leave the security. You are living it every day. You are interacting. You don't even know what you're walking into in a day. So that should be part of the training.
No, it is actually part of it. It is actually part. Say we are not. We've not out. And trust me, now say police. Police TV. When you try to watch, you see, we start from somewhere. Relax. See, me say we are all part. Me say sometimes when you don't pay attention to what is going on, you will not know. Trust me, they have moved from that old system. They have moved.
A whole product in a bab until you
say products are in Eba. When the product when 20 years ago. Where 20 years ago product.
I see.
You get it. So, today, technology police follow you should know.
But the reforms should have affected them.
Exactly. And so we need researching, and that is why right now the head of Ghana your man paying John Dramani Mahama say we are doing everything researching. Everywhere we are doing researching.
All right.
And that is what we need.
But I say you're going into the security the education system, and I'm happy say Miaminia Maradona the SRC president for Legon Guru our had later this one and bedin komo Maradona Yeboa AJ our had but I remember his Royal Majesty 2472 added a voice on the free SHS, and I make Kaipa said there was that similar call during the time of the past administration, but I say Anyajuma this time around or so to NDC for say mon categorizing no mon making sure say ebeye adwuma na kokoba say we spend so much money on the free SHS at the end of the day nkwan be school na come so de won na just say parents let's also talk provisions ahodo de come out e school na obewie so a wakotena school bosome ba ko no amakwan bosome miensa I mean of what benefits are we getting from this free SHS? Me no kase bi nda so tifie.
No na o ma me ba kon o papa be gre. JB, I think that education is very, very key and very fundamental so far as our progress is concerned as a country, because there be a cancer or might be advanced here. It depends how we train moldy the young generation, because we always say Omona inherited the future. There be a mecha. If you mess up today, there will be no tomorrow for people to inherit. So the journey to future now it beginning today.
Yeah, sure.
And that is why it is very, very imperative. Say in our education way, always the conversation has always been. It's good so too for on one hour can be. And you see over the years, this is the conversation. Some of us TC Kruma na ya can. Ebia panimfo do mano to mu ntema ebia nka ye ha say. But it's good say ne ekwamo bia obi e kan bia, and I think that's very, very important. As some na o kan ya sema I said the same thing. My kind of happen say free SHS policy one of the best policies because of the poverty situation in this part of the world. But you see, when you are rolling out a policy, you don't roll it out as a political reparation package. Without any thought. Policy you look at problems. You tease out the problem and you look at the possible solution. Then you weave your policy addressing those challenges. The free SHS policy was just rolled out because you can't say you're promising a diaba without even engaging the critical stakeholders in the educational sector. A teacher for people who are institutions when it comes to education. These people were bypassed and are buying to then pay as you go. There be a sort of problem, no problem. There a lot of discussion. Some of us even said, Ghana, and you'll be quite here free SHS. There are people who can pay and even pay for extra.
Yeah.
Me, I'm convinced that you see some of these multinational companies like MTN and Co, Musika Munyan or Kruma, I know they take all their money away. Since they sponsor I am now Mujina TV so for them. How can't we get this institution to use part of their money to sponsor education in as a for them?
We go elsewhere, somewhere like Sweden and the likes. Ukoye PhD. Yeah, well, companies are hold almost sponsor my PhD.
Yes,
because it's a research based.
Yes, these are multinational companies. this
no,
and as a company so around there are no proper regulation be until they will prefer to sponsor TV so na to sika boomagum but education and your priority for government, you know. And also you cannot begrudge them because will be up a profit. Then as for they will do some of these things. And free SHS, you know. Now one major problem is how I want to say the secure source of funding but fortunately because uncapping your friends a get fund is freeing 4.1 billion Ghana cedis. And the free SHS budget for a year is 3.5. So it means every year you are very much assured the get fund will generate fund, so it's a secure source of funding. And the argument is we are maybe obia and I say mama phone way no and there be some way because government has been able to make proper allocation. I am very guaranteed.
No,
and
but
secured.
the issue is that infrastructure wise,
yes, yes,
to see the Ukraine run a double track system.
Yes,
Meno kasibinum tifi. January 28.
Yes.
So now maybe school somewhere around May.
Yes.
I mean, within that long period of time, how do you expect Accra to cope and the parents to cope with that situation?
And then they bring into the fold the reforms now you can no. The mere fact is Sikaya available. I think we need to look at the President Mahama can say about reform. I think we need to reform the free SHS policy. Now you're making sure that much investment will go into infrastructure. Because this idea of a man for going to school one month or that kind of way, it disrupted the whole educational chain, Emma and Krano be disrupted. And again, JB, there is something among from or more being also. Free SHS, the very moment you open the doors say free, intake will increase. The number of people will come. But school in Ghana and terminate at secondary school level. It means there will be further advances to the next stage.
Exactly.
And this is free SHS, and that's a one seat tertiary. When you share, because tertiary and so. And a young was sorry then. You call our tertiary institution. So expanding the base by making it free by a man for air bomb. You should also be thinking about expanding various tertiary institutions.
Yes.
For instance, the last time I was there, a place accommodation growing a bit. And I ever be a port and no Legon. They say it's me freezy the whole day. Konipo Mugusuno.
Na Legon quote me a graduate over 17,000 students.
Yes.
Within a day.
Yes.
The following day, no master graduates about 5,000 or 10,000 students. So we now everybody.
So actually say infrastructural deficit in this educational institution because you cannot weave SHS policy without having in mind what happens at the tertiary. That's how you're myopic. You know what I say? Because they stream together. And I think that over the years, these are the mistakes. If there is a way we just to free fund, for instance, and there is a guaranteed source of funding to finance the free SHS policy, which is 3.5 billion, fine. But what about the infrastructure deficit? What about Ukraine Mugumuna and Omunko classroom? How do we attend? And again, Ukraine no movie school no bar. What are the opportunities for them to do? You understand?
In terms of the job market.
We are just training people without even looking at how do we even work on our curriculum in such a way that the gap between academia and the job market will be bridged in such a way that people come out of Legon or come into your friends a job market and they will jail. And the amount for national service credits because they know these people are not fit because of that gap. But I'm telling you, average Ghanaian or more university, they are very knowledgeable and very intelligent young people. Sure. We need to bridge that particular gap. Sabaya and Krano fit in. You go to corporations and other big entities. People who are due for retirement, do you know what they do? They give them contract, they stay. They are staying at the expense of young one who are supposed to come in. You understand? Sure. And we cannot go that particular line. So I think the whole educational system, just like I make about police, we need to retool. The focus cannot just be on free SHS. Maybe major concern of education, even the primary level. JB, say ya wakra, maneba wiasia, nitinu shinimo. The the orientation what beside at the kindergarten and the primary school level, the kind of teaching alcohol. So we end up breeding vagabonds at the early stage because exposure there may be or in the super anger those kind of way, exposing the kid at that early stage to some of these things, will destroy the child forever. So I think at the modern stage, at the early school, if you go abroad, they spend much time and make sure people who are teaching kids are very intelligent. Psychologically, you are up there, and you be, because it comes with psychological development of these kids. Whether they will become criminals or not, it will depend on the foundational way of being. By you think we don't mold people when they grow up. We mold them when they are young. So you see the whole educational change, I think that we need to sit down, do away with decouple politics from the discussion.
But I think that there's a commission, and I say,
yes, and I think that they will come out with a lot of reforms.
Yes,
and I'm sure that reforms, must begin with the early stage to the top. Because university crowd,
and can you imagine so be the master's degree or that's your multiple choice questions? I mean, how?
And that is up to them to decide. I remember they say my focus has to do with how you bet me a modu a training a man for now you bridge the gap between job market. I never come China advance and say they make sure say education a trainee job that are available on the job market. So transition is easy. If you go to America, there are people in big schools some of the big corporations, they can just transit because they know, say, whatever they are learning, our direct linkage with what is here. But yet, that is not the case. People go to university, they learn certain things which can never even be found here. We can argue, say, they can travel outside. But how many of them any opportunity to travel? Because the whole essence of education within your jurisdiction, must gear towards preparing the next generation, the next workforce. But the question is, how are we preparing them? So I think, the focus on free SHS alone will be narrow. We need to expand the discussion and look at the entire educational chain. Let me say, from the early stage to the university, how do we infuse some kind of way into the education? With the need of, for instance, and my culture say it's very competitive at the global stage. Obeti China at the early stage, ocean computer, what head rab, control if you board. So can you compete such people at the job market? Because apply for job at Amazon. Apply for job at Walmart on the internet everywhere. Now I computer at the early stage. What take by draw control for anywhere or board. So can you ever compete with that person?
Not at
so
all.
I think we need to redefine this whole educational concept and make sure we are training indeed future generation.
All right.
And just say you're just doing politics.
Let's have a hope for the last submission on this show. Now, yet to me, I call the second part of our discussion. Thank you.
I think maybe